Hi there, I'm Rodney, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Nikon Z 14-30 f4 lens. So many people ask, why would I need a 14mm lens? Wide-angle lenses, well, if you're a portrait photographer, probably not a huge need of yours. But if you're doing landscape photography, wider the better, and the 14mm lens is a beautiful place to be. This is a replacement to Nikon's 16-35 f4 lens that is made for the DSLR mount, and it's a beautiful lens, but if you look at the size difference, it's about 20% longer, and if you look at the weight difference, the Nikon 14-30 comes in at 485 grams, just barely over a pound. This is almost a half pound heavier. So that's a significant difference. Plus, the old Nikon f4 was a 16mm, and this gets you all the way out to 14. So you get all that extra width, 2 extra millimeters of width. The question is often asked, what about edge-to-edge sharpness? So here's a few images that I've taken in the last 2 months, and we'll just take a look at them. The first number were done on a Z5, and so they're at 24 megapixel files. And if you look at edge-to-edge at 100%, it is crisp and clean and good. And this is supposed to be blurry, so that works. Here again, we've got edge-to-edge. This is sharp. Up the top it's sharp, outside the edges here, sharp, a little bit of a spot on the sensor, oops, but it's sharp all the way around in all 4 corners and in the center. So that's ultimately when it comes down to something like that, it's saleable, and that's what we're looking for. Again, full image corners, they're sharp at every edge. Here it's not, but it's because of the depth of field. If you look at the rocks here, they're sharp. This here is literally about 8 inches to 12 inches from the camera. And we're looking at something that is going to have a depth of field. This is about kind of 4 feet, 5 feet, and anything from 18 inches on here was pretty sharp in focus. So again, edge-to-edge sharpness is bang on. Those are wider on the wider side. This is on the 30mm side, and I was on a ledge, so I couldn't get around this little rock formation here. But again, with the 30mm side, it's edge to edge. It's sharp everywhere. Again, everything is sharp. With this, stuff closest to the camera is not sharp, but that is a depth of field issue, and it's not a lens issue. Here in a cave, again, we're talking sharp, sharp, sharp. Again, look at this. We got sharp everywhere around us. It's just a really sharp image. These are Northern Lights. Again, this was done on a beautiful evening in Winnipeg, and the stars are sharp. Everything it's just crisp all the way through. Again, it's just sharp on every edge here. It's a beautiful lens. It's not perfect, but it is really, really quite sharp everywhere you go. So when the question is asked, edge to edge, is it there? Absolutely. Let's take a look at Bryce Canyon here. And again, everything is sharp right from the snow in the corners here, which is closest to me, to the stuff in the distance. It's sharp all the way through. Sunset across the street from my house here, and again, I realize there's street lights and all that in there, but it was a beautiful sunset. I ran across the street and went, I'll grab the camera, grab the lens, and it's sharp all the way through, right to the corners. So as far as that goes, this lens is sharp edge to edge. I'm using the Sigma 14-24, but you might have the Nikon 14-24, which was a great lens again, very bulbous, and although you can put filters on them, it's very difficult and very expensive. One of the beauties of the Nikon Z system here with the 14 to 30 lens is that you do get a detachable lens hood and an 82mm thread for filters. So you can put a polarizer filter on this, you can put a neutral density filter on it and slow down your shutter speed. You can get that nice wispy water if you're doing waterfalls. Fabulous option to be able to put a filter on the front of your lens. It's much cheaper and much quicker. As far as the f4 here, Nikon claims this will give you about 5 stops of vibration reduction, image stabilization, whatever you want to call it. 5 stops is likely what I would consider a bit of dreamland. Although with good technique, I've shot this down to 1/4 of a second with no issues at all. So if you're using good technique, absolutely you can stretch that out, and it's a great lens for that. Gives you good stabilization. When it comes to video, it's beautiful and seamless, so it's a fabulous lens for that. Also, the focus is super quiet. It's made for, like all the Z stuff, it's made for being both effective with video and photography. The images I'm going to show you here, everything except for the northern lights. I was a bad photographer intentionally and decided to not use a tripod for any of it. So all of the landscape stuff is handheld. Again, like I said, up to 1/4 of a second, not a problem at all. But the northern lights, we did go on a tripod just because it makes a huge difference. But in the month that I've had this lens, did a little traveling in Utah, did a bit of a couple of days in the Dominican Republic, and back to Winnipeg where we did some work out in the beautiful outdoors here in Manitoba. It's been a fabulous lens. It travels really well. It's light and easy to take anywhere I want. Now we come to the quirks. This is a bit of a quirky lens in that if you look here, it's folded down to its nice compact size, and there's a little dot here that's not lined up with the 14 or the 30 or anywhere in between. And so basically what it does is we need to zoom that out to 14. And in doing so, we've just added a ton of space to this lens. So we just made it a lot bigger. At 14mm, you zoom out to 30 and it's a little bit smaller, but in the end, if you want that compact, and you don't need it to be compact when you're using it, you need it to be compact when you are traveling or when it's in your camera bag. So when you're not using it, simply put it to that lock point and your lens becomes compact and easy to move around. One thing you'll notice if you're a video person, you're thinking, I want to use this for the gimbal and I'm going to be doing some zooming, it's going to be a little more difficult because the lens does actually move. The external does move. So when you're zooming that, if you're using a gimbal and you're doing video work, it will change the balance of your camera slightly. But as far as using this goes, like I said, we used it in the Dominican Republic, did sunrise photos there with the waves coming in. Took it to Utah and photographed it from Arches National Park to Kanab area. It's Bryce Canyon. Beautiful lens, it travels really well. And like I said, it was just always there to go. Tack sharp, as long as you're using good technique, it is a great sharp lens. Even in low light, it's a sharp lens. Do I recommend this lens? Absolutely. If you're a landscape photographer, this definitely should be in your camera bag. For $1,400, I think it's the best deal you can get on a landscape photography lens. And so Nikon just hit this one all the way out of the ballpark. This will be a great companion to your 24 to 200mm lens. If you want to kind of do everything in landscape photography with 2 lenses, it's the absolute combo to have. So this will give you the wide stuff. The 24 to 200 will give you that kind of everything you could want in between. But it's a beautiful lens, and again, for the $1,400 mark, it is the best buy on the market. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button, leave me a comment, and if you found this useful, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much. Have a great day.